Thank you so much. So it is really such a pleasure to be here today and see all of your smiling faces. I'll just tell you, I'm in the building on our third floor, and the joy and excitement and smiles, you can see it in their eyes because of their mask, is just incredible and infectious. And I wish you could see it, but I think we're doing a good job today of showing it to you through the screen. So I am MaryLynne Kerman. I have had the pleasure of meeting many of you, though not all of you. I am the director of our student services team, and I'm here with Alexis Spenchian, one of our advanced learning teachers, who will join me in presenting today on meeting the needs of all Sinai Akiba students. I think Mark and I were on a very similar wavelength when making our slideshows for today. We both went right back to our Sinai Akiba Academy core values. This is what guides every single thing that we do at our school, and I think really puts us above the rest in the community in terms of how we are able to personalize learning and individualize the experience for all Sinai Akiba students. We will look at all of these today, but I think the most important ones that Alexis and I will focus on are academic excellence and how we are able to ensure an amazing learning experience for all of our kids, using derech eretz, using kindness and empathy, and that ethical responsibility of making sure that every student is seen, heard, and understood at our school. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Alexis on the next slide to talk about our team.
Hi, I'm Alexis Spenchian. I'm one of the advanced learning teachers. I've been at Sinai Akiba for 12 years now, and have loved every minute of it. In addition to our wonderful teachers who are in the classrooms with our students every day, we also have a larger team that's there to really ensure that we're meeting all the needs of every student. What our team looks like is a group of learning specialists in the lower school that are there to support students in all subjects. We have a group of learning specialists in middle school as well, to meet the needs of our older students. I'm one of the two advanced learning teachers who really provide some extension for those of our students that need it in both the lower school and the upper school. We have our school counselors who are there for our social emotional needs of students, because we are always addressing the whole child, and our school nurse who's there for the health and wellness and has had extra responsibilities this year more than ever to ensure that our basic needs and health are met of both our students and really our staff, so that we can come to school ready to learn as students and as teachers ready to serve our kids. All of us are here to really make sure that, like MaryLynne said, each of our students is really seen and acknowledged and known, that their areas of growth are recognized as well as their areas of strength, and we can target those as best we can.
Thank you so much, Alexis. And I just want to say too, I know Alexis and our school counselors and myself, we're all involved in local community groups of school counselors and learning specialists and so on. And we really do at Sinai Akiba go above and beyond. This team is not typical of a lot of private schools, and our school really has put in the effort to create this team to really ensure that all of your grandchildren are getting exactly what they need, very targeted experiences at Sinai. All right. Okay, so at Sinai Akiba, we really work to connect the dots. We look at the whole child. So Alexis mentioned we really take time to get to know the passions, the interest areas, the strengths of each of our kids. They all come to us with so many incredible strengths. I think the presentation Areech just shared was just truly encapsulated that we really look at each child and help them find the areas that they're interested and passionate about. We know too that students learn at varying rates, and every one of us has different areas that we want to work on and we want to enhance. So we look at the areas for growth, and we also look at the areas of strength. All of those parts of the child are really important to us to pay attention to. In this year in particular, but in every year, to be honest, social emotional wellness is at the forefront of what we do at Sinai Akiba. I think that shows through the 2 school counselors that we have, the school nurse, the fact that every one of our administrators knows the names of all of our students. We're keeping such a close watch on these kids to make sure they're feeling happy, they're learning, and they're really having an amazing experience. I wanted to talk a little bit today about how the team that Alexis just went over works with our classroom teachers in both general studies and Judaic studies. So we are really keen observers of students' learning and their behaviors. We do what I call kid watching. We watch them really closely, really carefully to notice the nuances, to notice things that they are interested in, to notice when they're not feeling great. And to do something about that. Throughout the year, we're gathering a range of data on our kids. That could be anything from looking at a piece of writing that they're doing in writer's workshop to watching how they play at recess, all different little experiences that they have throughout the day. And we're monitoring them really carefully to make sure that everybody is growing at the pace that we expect them to, progressing in each of their areas of study, and really developing in the best way possible. So I want to talk about how all this support and support staff looks like in the building and across the day. So the professionals that Alexis went over can provide support in a huge variety of ways. So one is what I would call direct support outside of the classroom. So that means that a school counselor or a learning specialist or an advanced learning teacher might pull an individual student or a small group of students to work with them in their office in another area of the building to really personalize the learning experience for them. And Alexis and I will both share examples of that momentarily. We also provide direct support inside the classroom. So we've done this over Zoom. We usually do this in person and are now doing so again. Luckily, we go into the classrooms on a daily basis to check in on kids, to co-teach with our classroom teachers, and to really make sure everybody is getting what they need. All of the members of that team as well do a lot of teacher coaching and collaboration. So teachers will come to Alexis and say to them, I have this student who's just showing such a passion for engineering. Can you help me build an independent study project for them? Or they'll come to me and say, you know, I have a student who's really loving reading, but it's just not going the way that they expected it to. They're just having a little bit of trouble. You know, can you come and read with them and see what we can do to help them feel confident and help grow their skills in that area? Lastly, we work with parents and caregivers on a daily basis to make sure we're really collaborating and ensuring a smooth day for kids, both at school and at home, providing parents with ideas to try out at home, hearing from them what their children are saying about school, and working collaboratively together. So I'm going to give an example of what one of your grandchildren might experience at Sinai Akiba, and Alexis will do so as well. So one of the things that we do is to provide support for students who benefit from a smaller student-teacher ratio. We already have very incredible student-teacher ratios, but we can refine that even further by offering small group support. So we do this across the subject areas. But one of the ways we do it is in small reading groups where we can highly personalize the instruction for each child, refining it by thinking about the types of books the children like to read and the goals that they have in reading, whether that's to comprehend the book in a deeper way or to be able to figure out words that they're having trouble decoding. And we check in on their progress throughout the days and the weeks, because our goal is always to get them back in the classroom learning with their full class. But sometimes they just need a little boost, a little extra attention to work on a specific area. So this is one example of what some of the members of our team do on a daily basis. And now Alexis is going to share another one.
Hello again. So I'm one of the 2 advanced learning teachers, and we have roles like MaryLynne spoke about. We work with both teachers and directly with students. So one of the things we do is we plan with teachers so that they can adapt their instruction daily. So as MaryLynne spoke about, they may have a student or a group of students who could really use some curriculum extension. They're really understanding a topic well in math or in reading, and they could really use some extension. So what that might look like is we could work with teachers to adapt their units or their lessons. It might mean adjusting the pace. So for some students, we need to adjust the pace at which they're learning. It could look like adjusting some of the resources that the students use. So maybe they are doing research in different texts and websites than other students that are more at their ability level. It could look like just adding some depth and complexity to the topic that they're covering. So going a little bit deeper or exploring some complexities of the topic that the class is covering. So we really partner with teachers to provide them these tools that they could use daily to adapt for all the varying needs in their classroom. Another thing we do, which MaryLynne spoke about as well, is working directly with students. And that can look 2 different ways. We often do small group support, either inside the classroom or outside the classroom. And what this looks like is we work with students with similar academic abilities. So some that are ready for the exact same thing in a topic area. And we can work on text studies. So maybe we study some literature together and we use that depth and complexity to explore it at a different level. We do math extensions. Sometimes we do some science and STEAM extensions, partnering with our innovation lab. And that can be with a couple students, it could be with a group of 5, but we group similarly abled students because they are ready for that same level of extension. Other times we do one-on-one support. There's situations where there's a student that's just so curious and interested in a topic or has a strength at a certain area. As MaryLynne spoke about before, we had a student one year who had such strong visual spatial skills and such an interest in engineering. And we did a project on the Seattle Space Needle where he researched it. We used our virtual reality goggles and he got to visit it virtually and really study it and present to his peers. He's also a student that worked with our learning support services because he needed support in reading and language processing. So we really, as MaryLynne spoke about, we look at the whole child. A lot of children, pretty much everyone and adults have areas of growth and areas of strength. So there we are working on all ends of our children's needs. And not just saying this is a child that only needs extension or only needs support. There's many times when we work as a whole team, we target all of those areas. And then the last thing that we're always doing is providing that ongoing professional development to our teachers. So whether it's trainings from our learning support staff or other professional development trainings, we're constantly trying to arm them with the tools so that they can differentiate as much as possible on a daily basis, support those areas of growth, extend for those areas, those strength areas on the times when we're not in the classroom, so that that can be happening fluidly every day.
So we're just going to wrap up here and sort of use the metaphor of a flower and its growth. It's the springtime, and each child grows in an incredibly unique, beautiful, and different way. And that's what all of our staff members are here to recognize, to notice, to appreciate, and to really guide them, on their individual journey. Back to our values, they guide everything that we do. Whenever we're making a decision, in this department, we're thinking about derech eretz, we're thinking about academic excellence, we're thinking about our ethical responsibility and using that to really do right by the kids in our care. So with that, we want to just wrap this up. Know that we are here as resources for you should you have any questions. And it was really a pleasure to talk with you today. Just know your grandchildren are in really, really good hands and are very, very happy to be back at school.